almost expect like some early cheese gangs from Tombio because he is a player that's known to do that one. And the only thing, he's kind of the one player that really has the tools in his hands to really propel this early game, so they really can scale into it.
Let's go. Quincy, we're in game number 3. Everybody, we're in game number 3. Box Esports versus Flash. Again, the stakes aren't particularly massive, but a relegation tournament awaits 2 teams, and Box Esports going to be one of them. Just a question of who our other one is going to be. And with only 4 days remaining, well, I guess technically 3.5 after this game is done, 3.5 days of games remaining, figuring out what's going to happen. If you're Team Flash, you are sweating a little bit because you have to remember that they still have to play Team Wales. Team Secret plays Cerberus and Team Wales, so Team Secret is actually in a really rough position to fall because they have to play 2 of our playoff teams in order to get into or to get out of relegation tournament, which means if Box Esports beats Flash here, but like Flash is right there with them in the thick of it at the bottom of the standings, potentially with the running the risk. Because obviously, I think Team Wales has showed up at the back half of the split to do a lot better. Obviously, 2-0ing Saigon Buffalo was a pretty big indicator that this team is on point right now. So that means that, like, if Team Flash loses here, they have to play against Wales and Team Secret plays against Wales. We're assuming that's going to be a wash and both of them are going to lose. Then it's a matter of, can Team Secret beat Cerberus? And let's be real, this is late season Cerberus. The answer is probably yes.
Yeah. I was about to say, like, you can't just count on Cerberus performing. So Team Flash definitely is sweating right now. I mean, they also know Cerberus. I mean, especially Fuk1 and Pullin should know because they are former Cerberus players. They are probably within the gears of the Cerberus late game season trolling, or just the Cerberus kind of way to just be kind of good again, but still be kind of the team that loses to Box, which is something that they have shown like a few weeks ago. So even I, as an avid Cerberus Ultra fan, can of course give credit to that, as them losing to Box didn't really surprise me all too much. Either way, Team Flash definitely, speaking about this, we just know the rest of the stakes, definitely want to try hard this game and do everything they can do in their minds to really run the win home. Also one of the reasons that they're probably using the starting players again. I mean, of course, the other ones didn't really do bad at all. They played actually stellar, but I mean, you still want to have like the most synergy possible here and give it your all. As we see, something that I'm kind of surprised about, Victor Nugu actually winning the first 3 levels here and shoving in Jane and winning in CS.
They are. It was really shocking. I was going to complain about the Rise play there for a minute because Jane went like EW at the beginning. I'm assuming what the intention was is that they were trying to set up a gank with Fuk1 directly into the mid lane, and then Nugu was just like, no, and had the flash, actually burnt the flash at the very kind of opening of the game, likely off the back of an W coming through from Jane, but it meant that you lose a lot of your wave control because obviously you don't have your Q to be able to bounce between minions, so kind of the biggest wave clear advantage that you got at the beginning of the game was exchanged for that flash, which means that Nugu gets a little bit easier of a laning phase here, get a back, get a TP in. Rise isn't going to have a significant advantage over top of Jane to start this one off, but again, that early game, now going to have to be punished. Like, there's no reason that Flash is necessary from Nugu to be able to avoid Jane in the laning phase unless Fuk1 comes back for more.
Yes, and we see already Yoshin on the top lane. Still being lane dominant, right? I mean, Malphite against Ornn, pretty even matchup. Maybe slightly Malphite favored in the early game, but also everything in the Yoshino versus Sunman matchup is Yoshino favored, and this is what we see here. The longer trade should favor the Malphite, as he can just run the Thunderclap and the Brutal Strikes to just have this additional Ornn damage, while the Ornn just basically has his combo, and if the combo is out, the combo is out, right? His auto attacks are far from impressive. And also auto attacks in general against Malphite, not really the most impressive thing, right? So playing against a huge wave, definitely not something that Samba should do, as Yoshino has very huge control over this wave. However, the bot lane looks better for Box, I gotta say. I was expecting the Jinx to really contest the priority a bit more, but that doesn't seem to be the name of the game for Bot inside, as he's also running the Carl start, already based for the Doran's Blade on his side, and is looking to scale up to really hit his power spike with 100 minions.
Yeah, the second that the gun ended up swapping there, it was a hook gain attempted from Sora. So Sora making a good read on the gun play. As Box Esports, again, they want to be able to clear this out. They're actually going to be stuck in a really weird position here unless Slows can kind of clear this. That's going to be the flash. Nice dodge from both sides. Rise ultimate to the bottom side of the lane, but I think Zodiac's going to have the shield readily available. Yeah, that's going to deny a fair amount of the damage. Zodiac going to be able to flash out the other side now, as that's a 4-person gank attempt to the bottom side of the map. And the more of these that happen and the less of them that succeed, the better off that Box Esports is going to be, because, again, they're the ones that are scaling for late game. So if you continue plays like this, Team Flash just not going to be able to live for very long. I like that they're getting aggressive, trying to take advantage of some of the early game they've got, but you do have to make things stick in order to actually have it work.
While true, they got both flashes from both bot laners, so
True.
what I now focus my eyes on is what will they do with these flashes being down? Will they punch it again in the next 5 minutes? They have a lot of time window to really go for something like this, and I mean, just now good play with Fuk1 to just barely get the Spectral Maelstrom in, then a well follow up by the side of Jane, Wound Prison of course being there, so the flashes are being forced. At the end of the day, it is a small win in the net waves for the side of Box Esports, as Nuo could just use the Chaos Storm to clear off this mid lane wave and at least get a small CS lead for now. But will Flash find another punch within the next minutes? If they can, I think it's worth. If they can't, I think Box Esports is very happy with what happened just now.
Yeah, the biggest thing is that flashes need to be punished, which is something that I always... It's my biggest complaint about junglers is when they burn flashes and summoner spells and don't find a way to repeat. And they do find a way to repeat here. Zodiac was stuck out in the river. Okay, Exhaust is going to get dropped really late from Zodiac. That's going to be a flash in to make sure that the play ends up going through as Jane going to go back over top the wall. That one was Zodiac, I think, going out in the river, trying to fish for wards and things like that, not expecting Puddin and Soren and Fuk1 to show up all at once. Because of that, First Blood over to the side of Team Flash, finally, again, doing as we said, again, the opposite of a caster curse, a caster blessing there, saying, hey, they need to punish without the flashes being up, and would you look at that? That's exactly what happened.
I like seeing that because it makes me look less stupid, right? I'm actually going for this play. Either way, not the Drake being started, which is something that they might have gone for. But Aphelios is up.
Oh, what are we doing now? Okay. Now, it's one thing if you're Zodiac and you're like, hey, I can clear some wards, I might have some free time, they might have backed. Like, there's plenty of reasons why you could potentially suspect that you have open space to go clear a ward, right? That, however, was pretty criminal. As Puddin and Sora were already on the way. They knew they were probably on the bottom side. Worst case scenario, they're on Dragon. So you stepping up that far, it's just going to get punished. And Team Flash just collect another kill on the bottom side after the flashes were burnt. And we already talked about this. Like we're for all intents and purposes, we're chumps. They should know this. Like they burnt their flashes. Like you don't need omnipotence to know not to walk up in the laning phase without a flash.
I think what he thought was that he's on Dragon anyway, the Dragon's gone. I at least shove this wave so I don't get frozen on. But, I mean, you can't just do it in a 1v1, 1v2, 1v3. And, I mean, even if they do the Drake, like, they are very short around the corner. You should probably hurry up with this situation and just quickly do it. I think the correct play is just accept that you might just get frozen on and just nullify or sacrifice the CS lead that you earlier established. And now it's like the worst of all worlds, right? They lose the Dragon, they lose both killed, the CS gap is smalling out anyway, and they also lose the first Herald. It's a complete disaster, basically, just from this whole bot lane play where they only lost 2 flashes, which at the end of the day would have been fine if it was just that.
Yes, and now, I mean, Slows is going to be able to shove in a pretty big wave. Without Zodiac here immediately, though, I mean, they're not going to be able to clean up what should have been a turret plate, almost certainly. Zodiac now is going to be here. There's no jungle support yet, but Rise Ultimate is going to be available. That would bankrupt Jane of any mana, so it would just be attempting to put Fuk1 on top. Although Blue Buff's going to be traded off here, so that could be a play. So now, I mean, Jane and Fuk1 could show up on the bottom side as fast as possible. Slows and Zodiac to play a little bit more defensively. If they step up again, they are going to get ulted on, which you can see is kind of being postured right now by Fuk1 and Jane on the corner of that map. Sora, can we get it? That's a hook. There's an ultimate potentially to be had here, and there we go. That is bad. That's a stun. The traps don't quite hit, but it's going to be a kill on the Slows. And yet again, the bot lane is punished, Quincy.
Speak about if they punish those flashes, right? They punish it multiple times. They arguably solo win the game off of those flashes, maybe. I mean, Slows is now falling the second time. Viego with a kill, Wise with a kill, Jinx with a kill. Good luck playing against that one. Also, the Jinx that was down CS now up in CS, and they might just actually keep playing for this one. Not for the dive, but just for the plate instead. It will just be one plate close to the second one. This one not quite falling. And Yoshino's just proxy farming against Sunmo. That's very disrespectful. But I like the Jazz. He saw that Tommy was bot side, so what does he really have to worry about?
And the thing is I love this from Yoshino. If you've got the mana sustain, which he does because he's got the catalyst, the reason you do this is because, like, okay, what is the solution? Like, Ornn's going to take a bunch of damage. Sunmer has to burn a bunch of mana just to make sure he doesn't die in this lane up against the minions, or he's going to have to crash. And if you respond to it with Tamriel or Nogo or somebody like that, guess who gets bullied more? The bottom lane, who burnt their flashes earlier. Now the flash is back up. This is a little harder to operate on. But the idea, like, Team Flash, from game number 1, like they're not doing stuff like this in game number 1. I know maybe it's a different game, it's different players, it's a different situation, but like this is a completely different team tactically than what we saw in game number 1, and I'm not really sure why. It seems like I don't know, maybe the other players were upset by the fact that Ikigai and TQ are in, so they just they were like, we're not going to try very hard in game number 1. But they've done so much better as a result of game 2 and 3, looking much more like the Flash that we've become more accustomed to as the split has gone on.
Yes, as we say that. Next move coming up by the side of Team Flash, just securing some vision around this Drake area, not shortly before the Drake itself. And Box just won't have any of that, right? Just defending this control ward very dearly, and rightfully so. I mean, they were able to force them away. Without both AD carries really being there. I mean, you don't want to fight 2v2 against the Braum with melee champions. That seems like a very bad idea. Even with being slightly ahead, it's probably not what you really want to go for. What they, however, want to go for is probably the Swift Herald push and just dropping the Swift Herald right there. Maybe before looking for a gank angle, that would be a potential 3v3. That seems a bit more winnable for Flash's side, but I think that's something where Box might just find a comeback. And I think they will just go for the safe Herald play and just maybe use it here. Actually, they are taking the time on this one and not just quite deciding to drop it here, as they might just get one plating either way. They do.
Yeah, the big thing is they have to get through half of a second plate in order to really make it valuable, because then you crack 2 plates instead of just the 1. So right now, if you drop it, you get 1.5, and it ended up being at like 1.5 plates remaining, and then it's weird. So you need to knock off half a plate. So the optimal time to use it is right when you're starting, because your first couple auto attacks will likely crush the first bit of it, as that's going to be Zodiac getting aggressed against at least a little bit. Will they step up? Puddin, I think, wants to try to get some more off of this plate, this turret. Not going to be happening yet, though. More damage. Jane here. Nugu's loping around the back. Doesn't quite have it. And there's the second plate. That's what I was wondering. I was hoping that they would wait until the wave was about to crash so that Puddin could step up and get this all at once instead of having to, make the risk happen underneath the tower. But with the support of Jane, especially with Nugu being down about half his health bar or something like that, it was a lot easier. And now, I mean, they're just gone completely defensive. This is gone. Slows is stuck in a really bad position. He's going to have the flash. The flash isn't even going to matter. He's just going to die. And Puddin gets the kill.
I expected to be more angry about the flash, but because that's so unnecessary, right? We have seen earlier what happened when his flash was down. I mean, him dying twice, but this is the third time. He just flashed for absolutely no benefit, just winning 2 seconds or something, which is pretty whatever in the grand scheme of things. They lose the first turret anyway. He drops down anyway. At the end of the day, with the Herald push being down and the team just kind of selling slow, that's the end of the play. And Flash now stampeding ahead. 3,000 gold they are in the lead. The next trick is up and alive. Their positioning not being ideal, as I just know blew quite a bit of ultimates, especially the realm from Jane.
Yes.
But I don't think Box can take the Drake, so it's very, very fine for Flash. Also, Yoshino walking all the way up. He could just go for a Malphite ultimate play, but he probably goes against it as the resources are still not there for the carries.
Yeah, I like that Yoshino is standing between like 3 members of the squad and still just doesn't care. It's like 3 people right on top of him.
Shot.
Yeah, that's something else. He just knows that there's no way for them to kill him. All he has to do is ult away. He's got Flash. He's got plenty of opportunities. Team Flash winning the bot side of the map this hard, too. I mean, again, Yoshino has to do nothing. He's down 5 farm. It doesn't matter. Actually, he's probably even in farm roughly with the opposing tank. But it just doesn't matter because he doesn't care.
Yeah, he's absolutely even in CS. Second Drake also already being taken. And also speaking of the Swift Tail push, I think that was kind of funny because I was probably not positively surprised by the fact that they didn't immediately drop the Herald. Then you explain in detail how they really have to do it, with like the dropping the plating half and then pulling the Herald, and then Team Flash just not doing it the correct way anyway. It was kind of a fun sequence in the way.
Yes.
With the Jet and Wilbur play in the dive, it was looking kind of fine, but not so fine for Box, right? They kind of sold slows, and slows not even reacting correctly, burning the flash hit again. Also now having to go Gale Force on the failures to compensate for the lack of flashes all the time, just having a bit of mobility. Maybe you should have picked Fresh, I don't know. I mean, we addressed this earlier, and I mean, now he has at least 1 tool against the Malphite, but can you ever kill this Malphite without the Kraken Slayer? I'm not so sure.
It'll be difficult. You do very much have Victor, who is a pretty big proponent to being able to rip through tanks in a lot of circumstances. The Leandries is going to help. You're just losing the other side of the map, though. Rift Herald, is it worth it? Is it worth it, guys? I mean, what is that? 25% of a tower's health in exchange for the entire bottom tower to your Rise and your Viego. Yoshino, again, proving us right. Like, okay, he has Flash, he has Ultimate, there he is. He's going to ult away.
Yeah.
Conrio could pop this on the top tower, maybe pull that, but no one's around to collect the gold. Like, it's going to be slows It's gonna be Zodiac, but you just don't care. Like you just don't. It's like Box and Flash are playing two different games right now. It's like Box is like, okay, we're gonna do this and this and this, and Team Flash is like, I don't care what you do. Like I'm just gonna run around the map, and you're not gonna be able to do anything. His prize ultimate is gonna put multiple members into the backline as we have a bit of assassination. Fuq1 and Jane in there, and in the midst of everything, Nugu is gonna go down now. Excited is Puddin, who's gonna be able to put out some damage if he's able to get within range of a couple of different members. As Zodiac is gonna slow him down, but now Jane has that E, has the root, everything else to come through. Two members going down here for the side of Box Esports is Puddin and Jane. Again, they're putting on a performance, if you know what I'm saying.
And I think Team Flash is doing this game with Wise what Box wanted to do last game with the Talia pick. Just absolutely snowballing the sidelines out, and we kind of see how it really plays out with another Wellmop play. Definitely beautiful to see. As it started off with Sora hitting the stretch line and Wellmop into the back line. And yeah, you just win all the DPS checks, even through exhaust on the side. Exhausting Fuq1, also he could just heartbreak over the wall and just rejoin the fight after he's done being exhausted. And now Puddin and Jane. Jane also Giga Chat just flashing forward for the Wound Prison slow just now, but still enough of a slow for the chase down to come in for Puddin. He gets excited once more, doesn't get any more follow-up kills, just those two. But I mean, I say just those two. I mean, 5,000 gold is the lead. This Rift Herald, that's what we sacrificed the tier 2 to it for, by the way. This Rift Herald, will it take the bounty on its own? I think it will. I mean, at least it's an objective bounty, but you much rather just don't fall as much behind, so you don't even need bounties. So,
no.
Very questionable macro play by Box in the last few minutes. Maybe we praised them too much for game 1.
Perhaps, yeah. I don't know how much. Maybe it was a difference of the subs. It didn't look like it from our perspective. And again, the subs were playing really good League of Legends, but maybe again it has much more to do with map control and things like that than being able to communicate properly. Because it has seriously been a very different Flash that we've been watching over the last few games compared to Box Esports. Specifically mid lane, I do want to give a bunch of credence there because again, Nogo has been such a good member of this squad for Box Esports, such a pivotal member when they find their successes. And Jane, after game 1, I had some worries about. I know the RE wasn't particularly strong. Goodness gracious, the Cinder was insane, and now the Rise in this game has done so much work to be able to bring this team back, to be able to bring them back into a position where they are now going to be threatening Team Secret with potential relegation tournament, which seems like the most likely outcome after a series like this, right? Like they beat Team Flash, now they're up a series, then they put themselves in a situation where like it is necessary to either you have to beat Team Wales and lose to Cerberus, or you have to beat Cerberus, lose to Team Wales just to tie, and that's assuming that Box Esports doesn't come out and beat Wales also. So like there's. Like I said, this win is so much bigger for Team Flash in the grand scheme of things that, like, I know Box didn't have much kind of anything in this, but more than anything else, they're kind of practicing for the relegation tournament at this point, just making sure that they're going to be up to snuff against some of the other VCSB teams and things that qualify. But that is not to say that Team Flash didn't come in here with a bunch of respect and things to be able to make this happen.
And they're definitely testing something, right? I mean, testing two different players in the first game, losing a close game, which is, of course, not great, but still something where you can see that they are substitutes are definitely up to the task and could perform theoretically. Also, seeing Jane, the Ari might just not be it, but they found two great picks which he can really work greatly with. Maybe they just need Nymever to just get him rid of his Ari driver's license, as Jane should definitely not play this one any further. But speaking of that, the game now kind of extending a little bit. Next wave spawning in a bit more than 10 seconds. Would just be the soul point already for Side of Flash. It would be Hextech Soul, very strong of course. And they are just now slowly starting to get the scaling components in, just now with the ornament on Sunma, with the unspoken parasite. But it's just not enough, right? This time you're not 4,000 gold down, but actually you're like 7,000 gold down. You are staring down a potential soul point very early on, and you just won't get there with the scaling before Team Flash just spawns all over you.
Especially because the number one damage healer on your team in Slow is the one that is... Yeah, the AD gap is ridiculous. You're talking probably an entire item for Puddin that is currently ahead. Not to mention Soul Point is going to be driven home in 5 minutes time. So 24 minutes into this game, you're worried about potentially dying. As it's Yashino, no flash. They're chasing him down. The sun's going to come out. They're going to kick him back into the rest of the team. Look at how many ultimates they've had to invest into just killing Yashino on their own. Slows does pick up the kill. That was Sunmer ultimate, Tamrio ultimate, Slows ultimate, and Zodiac. 4 ultimates, Crincy. 4 to kill one player.
Yes, but Yoshi also kind of into that one. Why is he in there? Why does he need to ult out? And why is he still getting caught up by that?
I don't know. Yeah,
and if you
another great question.
And I think if you die anyway, just be a chat and just ult into them. Just deal a little bit of damage,
Yeah,
annoy
just
them a little
panic,
bit.
yeah.
Yeah,
Just try
yeah.
to full assassinate slows and just make
Yeah,
like make
but
it
you're
burn a
still right.
flash or a heal or something. Like just force him out.
Even this clownish play follows so many ultimates that they just now can start Baron at the spawn of it, basically. So even this dumb play might have just turned out to be a correct play.
Sunmer just got trolled a little bit because they call for the TP. They say, hey, let's go, let's fight this. And then they turn off the Baron immediately. Trapline goes down right on top of the ward. They are ready and raring to go. They're like, okay, teleport here. Immediate flash from Sunmer. Like not even a comment, like not even a discussion, not even anything. Just immediate flash from Sunmer, who is now down both of his summoners as a result of that play. So after that, again, ultimates were down. You are going to get them back before the next really big fight, but you are going to be down 2 important summoner spells that you can use for cross mapping. You can use inside of team fights, things like that. That Sunmer is going to be missing as one notable addition.
And that makes Yoshino's death play actually look even a bit better, right? I mean, he died, but he didn't really burn any summoner spell or anything. I'll actually burn a lot of resources for the enemy team. So just now in the extended sequence, it looks more than fine.
Okay. Fishing with the Rise ultimate is a bit of an interesting play here because you do have the Braum, so it's like super easy to just not take damage. You pop up the shield, but I respect it. I respect that Jane and Fook1 have just been really on point in this game, really connecting on a lot of different plays and making themselves known across the map to ensure that their team is getting what they need in terms of pressure. That Team Flash right back to the Baron buff, probably wanting to force out a team fight of some kind. There's TP from Yoshino. They know Ornn is going to be really late to the party. It's already down half of its health bar. They got to find a way to engage. Sora is just here pressing buttons to make sure that's going to happen. Yoshino into the backline gets slows for just a little bit. The Baron is going to be regenning as well, as now the re-engage could come through from Box Esports as they have Sunmer here now. They back off just before it is time to come in. Whew. All right.
That was a really bad fight by Flash.
Yeah.
They should get more. They force a fight, 5v4, huge gold lead, but they are thinking the Baron and they aren't really fighting the hard engage. So it's actually Zodiac dropping very low, but it's also Sora, so Sora has to get out. He's basically a non-factor in this situation. And Nugu on the Victor being surprisingly tanky can at least survive like an initial burst situation. So Summer actually has time to rejoin, and they fear this huge Forge God play coming through while taking the Baron, and rightfully so, Flash pull away from the Baron. Gotta say though, they also didn't really lose much. Just a bit of time, a bit of a whoopsie moment for them, and they can just play this game again once or twice more, and if it works once, it's fine, right? As long as they are safe enough to pull off of the Baron, it's actually okay to do this again.
Yeah, it's funny because Nugu was actually on the bottom side of the map there without TP, so they could have been without Victor, which would have been a huge takeaway in terms of the damage output of this Box Esports squad. But they're not going to. Instead, they have a minute and a half until the next dragon is going to be up. They're going to set top lane to push. They're now looking at Baron, which is interesting. They're going to clear out the rest of the river here. And yeah, they're going to start it right back up as there's vision here. They do know it's canceled out, but they're standing directly on top of this Scuddler vision. It's down to 5,000 health, and they have not even been able to step into the river yet. Do not turn. Just take the Baron. Take the Baron, please. Stop turning. Good lord. All right, now the Ornn ultimate to come out, try to stop them on the backside. They're not going to be able to get anything. Big ultimate from Yoshino to be able to kind of deny everybody else any sort of access into this fight. And now I think Flash just wants to wash their hands of the situation. I don't think they want to re-engage in any capacity. That's exactly correct. They might be denied the soul point here, but honestly, if I were them, I would just walk at top lane and say, hey, you have to respond to the top lane poke. If you don't, you're going to lose top tower. You might lose top inhibitor tower. You might lose top inhibitor. So be really careful about this if you're Box Esports. Tomrio included. I mean, there's 3 members. There's 3 members here. Yeah.
And there's still more than half a minute for this Drake, so they can easily just reset in time and just get positioning back into this Drake and don't even have to give up a Constellation Drake and just drop all right now. So they can probably just get this Baron. I mean, they just already got it. And just translate this Baron, the priority from the side lanes potentially, and the mid lane itself, while they are walking down this mid lane right now. And with this Hextech gate as well, right? Just easily be in position for this Hextech Soul and probably get this one as well. They are so far ahead right now. It's 6,000 gold. It is a Baron being on them. Ornaments are there, but they are be damned as they only really soften the blow. And Yoshino, his ultimate is up soon again, like 20 seconds more for it. The Drake will spawn just right now. But Box also can't just really start it off and rush it down. This shouldn't be possible.
No, I don't think they can. They don't necessarily have all this much damage. The Victor's still a little bit behind, and more importantly, Slows is really behind. Sora's going to blast code over, immediately hook in, try to find something, as they're going to push this members out of the river. Now Hextech Soul is available for the squad. down to 5,000 health. Big ultimate to
Nice.
the back line for Yoshino as 3 members stacked up right there. No additional rockets. It's going to be a huge knockup coming through. Jane and Puddin trying to go forward, trying to get the damage out. They're going to bring down multiple members on the front line, and that's going to be Zodiac as well as another falling on the front line. Slows underneath that tower right now. 5 members stand strong for the side of Team Flash, and routed is the side of Box Esports as they're going to lose the Hextech Soul as well. Jane fancies himself a fight up against Nogo and against Tom Rios. Both of them are kind of hanging out in the area. Puddin as well. They don't have any damage dealers really at the Dragon because they just simply do not care. And now
It just takes half an hour, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can just easily start it. But I mean, as long as Tommy isn't around, it just can take some time to really get this Hextech away. Very good fight played again by the side of Team Flash. I was a bit worried because it was just unstoppable force without much follow-up onto Slows, who had the red one, the dangerous weapon for failures. And he could actually heal off a bit against Yoshino. But the thing is, as we here see the play again, here he engages onto it. The follow-up is kind of half there, but actually not really there. And also Sunbow having good V-engage, having his mini Malphite ultimate with the searing charge of the Orn. But here's the problem. The front to back is easily won for Puddin against Slows, as Slows can only hit Yoshino, while Puddin can easily, with his higher range, higher DPS output, get the soft members on the side of Box Esports low, and get excited all of them, and then the DPS sector is already favorable for them, gets even more favorable, so Box Esports has no way to win this fight whatsoever. The Hextech Soul itself might be dead in the situation, as it will just be a 3-0 fight for the side of Team Flash. They get the Hextech Soul on the way out anyway, and for Slow, it's just unfortunate, right? The Malphite just ults into your face, you try to kite around towards the eastern side, but there's still the bot in tier 1 to it standing, which is very unfortunate for him. So he really had no chance.
It is, yeah, Team Flash now has just full control. I mean, they're up 10,000 gold to 26 minutes of the game. They have Hex Soul. They've got a Jinx who's on 3 items, going to be on Infinity Edge after enough time here. You've got a Rise on 3 completed items, including the Saracen Rod. Like, you're not going to be able to catch this team in damage anytime soon. Like, Slows needs basically Infinity Edge completed after this next fight and to even have a chance. And even then, it's still going to be risky. Again, the Gale Force is necessary just to try to dodge out some of the skill shots, but I don't think it's going to help him in being able to tear through Yoshino or any other frontliners that kind of exist right now, as this team slowly ramping up as this game has gone on. Now they've hit like the pinnacle of when they are the most strong. They've got so much engaged, so much frontline for a team that's sitting at the brink of annihilation at relegations. Again, even if they end up getting to relegations, or like, there's almost no way a team beats this squad. Like, this team is just too good. Like, this is a team that could have been pushing for playoffs if this had started earlier on. We're ultimately gonna get popped, not gonna hit Sora. Instead, just going to get driven off as Jane continues the split push. They're going to rotate over here to try to clear the wave as fast as possible. Kick from them onto Jane to try to get them underneath of the tower. Now a bunch of the flux is actually down on here for Jane to be able to team fight with a lot of damage going down on the Tomrio Rocket's going to be able to get Puddin excited. And now it's Puddin to be able to crack the tower ultimate in the backline from Yoshino. And that's going to be a huge play from Puddin. He picks up 3 over the course of that one. 1 kill going over. And that's all 5 members right there. Box Esports going down as Team Flash. They didn't look great in game number 1. Maybe it was the subs, maybe it wasn't. You know what does matter? The fact that they end up bringing the series back, and a 2-1 for them gets them that much closer to not falling to relegations. Team Secret is put in a really rough position. They have to beat at least Wales or Cerberus in order to stay in competition to ensure that they might not fall to relegations instead.